No, I'm staying with you. I'm
Oh,
staying with you.
okay.
All right. Okay. Well, welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and this is a regular group, semi-regular, of some very interesting people that seem to be gathered here. Um, and I think, with each of our combined experiences, it always seems to come together in some kind of interesting way. We were just talking about energy and energy healing, but Nadi had just also given a great crop circle report. Are you familiar with crop circle? I know Elizabeth is. Are you, Marla, familiar with crop circles?
A little bit, Ellen.
Do you know they're basically, I think, ET languages, ET transmissions. Do you get that, Marla? Or
Well, psychically, do I get that? I don't know. I know there's symbols. I know there's symbols. I don't
right.
know. I think I would have to look at a crop circle or a photo of to get something specific.
Well, Nadi, is that your dog?
No, sorry.
Well, there's one.
Ah,
Not scrub.
oh my goodness.
What do you get from that?
Well, first,
First of all, I want to say these are huge. These are in the side. This is in a wheat field or some kind of crop in England, and they're all different designs and they're very complex. And when you look at the ground, I've been in England twice to look at these, and they're not flattened. They're laid down. Their stalks and the crop are not broken. They're laid down. So anyway, what do you get from that, Marla?
wow. What do I get? What do I get, Alan? I don't know. I'm so struck by the visuals. I don't know, honestly, if I can get anything, but it's so ancient, isn't it? I mean, I don't know what that symbol is in the center, but it just speaks to the whole of the human body, for one thing. I don't know. What does it mean?
Well,
You guys tell
Elizabeth,
me.
what do you figured out about these, Elizabeth?
Well, they have a kind of interesting history with them. I followed them from when they first started getting reported. And somehow I got invited. See, when was it? Now, it must be now maybe about between 8 and 9 years ago. I was invited to Brazil for to speak at two crop circle conference events by a lady who was wealthy enough to fly all the speakers down business class, and we were kept in style and flown from Sao Paulo to Rio and back with all the stage props and everything. She had, when people entered the theater, they walked through sheaves of wheat, and then there was a big crop circle propped up against the stage, and it was just amazing settings and stuff. And we did other things on the side, meeting with a healer in Brazil, one of these magical psychic surgeons and stuff like that. But anyway, after I'd gotten the invitation, I said to a friend, look, I've just been invited to speak at a crop circle event, and I've never even been in a crop circle. Want to go to England? We better go to England. Get to see this. So I recruited her to come with me. And then this lovely Belgian guy who was there for the summer studying what was going on in the whole community of crop circle people there. He became our personal guide, and he would put his briefcases on the barbed wire fences so that we could get over them safely and stuff.
What do you make of it? Because I've been there too, but I'm curious about what you make as a scientist.
Well, it's interesting because I did a whole slideshow, and what I could do, I could put that slideshow into my Dropbox and then make it available to all of you.
Well, Nadi has a bunch of great slides too of this. So
because what I was trying to do was to keep, it's like the dialogue this morning, keep people open to alternative explanations, and that not all crop circles are alike. I came away absolutely convinced that there were man-made crop circles and there were non-explainable that way crop circles. And and some of the most elaborate ones were man-made, actually. But
Really?
and there were some crop circle makers who were hired to come to California and make them in the fields there on behalf of rock groups and stuff. So I got really, when I get into something, I research every angle on it.
But the real ones are a real, I feel, a real genuine communication with being.
Well, you know, the Earth is full of intra and extraterrestrials, right? You know, who knows? They could be made for, maybe they're pulling down those stalks from inside the Earth rather than bending them down with energy from above. I just like to stay really open, and that really offended some people, including Linda Moulton Howe. It was one of the speakers, and then I
Oh,
lost a friend in LA who considers herself an absolute expert on them and wasn't invited to speak, and was really furious that I had been invited to speak. Pete Russell was there. I don't know if Marla or Nadia know Peter Russell,
oh, Peter Russell, Global Brain, the Global
global
Brain.
brain guy, physicist,
Yeah.
written a bunch of books. Anyway, he's an old friend.
Mhm.
And
But it's still happening. You know, there's still
oh yeah,
just this
sure.
year, there's been some. Well, Nadi, you've done a great study. You gave a great presentation yesterday. Tell us what you think is going on, because I loved what you had to say.
Yeah.
Did you have a good time, Ellen? I thought of you the whole time.
Thank you. I should have been online, but I was traveling. So
Were
yeah.
you in England?
No.
No, she was
It's-
in Portland. No, she just gave a presentation about the
Okay.
images. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
tell us.
it was the most exciting thing was that it was streamed on Portal to Ascension, which just, you know, and Alan's YouTube channels, which was just so fun to meet, you know, to really connect with a broader audience. But let's see.
What was some of your favorite hits? Because I think Marla will really be, I have to say, being inside them, the first one I was in, I walked around in a circle. I felt very nauseous. The energy was just too unstabilizing. And then in another one, I was in the one which was a figure 8, which was produced at 888, August 8th, 2008. There was an 8. So there is this dialogue of consciousness, but I felt really good in that one, really grounded, really Kundalini energy. So tell us, Nadi, sorry. I think are you frozen or are you just meditating? Oh, go ahead.
Did I freeze? Am I back? Yeah, I'm back now. Can you repeat your question, Alan?
No, I want to know,
I lost your question.
Give us a little bit about what you presented yesterday, because you made some great points about these dimensionality of it, the interdimensionality of it. And do you want to show us some?
Cool, thanks. Well, you know, I've hijacked ET Roundtable with crop circles before.
No,
so
not really. You haven't really. Marla,
okay. Well,
you haven't really.
I can do whatever you
well,
are
I love
all interested
the
in.
images, and we can all discuss it. I mean, these are the real ones, Marla. So just to tell you, Marla, they sometimes appear overnight in the rain or whatever. There's no trace of footsteps, and they are very complex. And and show the ones with the weave inside of them. There's these, and I've seen this, and it's like you're looking at this thing, and I would say, who would take the time to weave all this together in the dark? I mean, they're inside the crops, or sometimes there's like these little birds' nests, and there's like, or more complex weaves. So yeah, show us, Nadi.
But do you want to? I need you to make me the host. Yes.
No, because I think Marla will open up to a whole other realm of possibilities. You think were.
And Elizabeth, I'm on board. I have to say, I feel fairly rigidly entrenched in my perspective that they are communication from advanced civilizations here to help human consciousness evolve. And let me multitask here. And I learned the other day, because I recently got, it's not within reach. I recently, I don't have my PowerPoint open. I'll do that while I'm talking. I was reading Barbara Lamb and Judith Moore's book on crop circles, which it's been around for decades, and I finally got it. I've been working with Barbara a little bit lately, and so I ordered it, and I learned the coolest thing in regards to what you were talking about, Elizabeth. And I used to, I would acknowledge that there are man-made crop circles, but that they are, part of the disinformation campaign. And what was that called yesterday? What was I doing? Was that Portal to Ascension? I'm trying to
Portal
multitask.
to Ascension, yes.
Okay.
No, there are man-made crop circles, but they have a different feeling to the ones that seem to just appear overnight.
They definitely have a different feeling, but I used to only give validity to the extraterrestrial ones, so to speak, because, there's all sorts of evidence of the biophysical anomalies that are really great evidence to support that some advanced civilizations are involved. But yes, I learned that through channeled information through Judith Moore, here we go, I'm going to share my screen, that now this one's really fun because it involves a little bit of mind control. Sort of, but not really. 1 second here. So, not necessarily mind control, but the interface of extraterrestrial races. This is one of the first crop circles. This was in Alton Barnes in 1990. Let me, you know what? It's more fun if I do it this way.
And what's interesting about this one is like that was one of the first ones, and it shows like a sort of like keys. And I think they're telling us these are, it's my interpretation, keys to deeper insight. This was a Led Zeppelin cover. But
right, that was Zeppelin kind of promoting the crop circle. Let me find some. So this is one of my favorites. Anyway, so she was talking. The channeled information was talking about how even with those man-made ones, which are really sophisticated, they are profound, no doubt. Even with the man-made ones, that there is likely a subconscious relationship between the higher self of that individual and the advanced civilizations, because it's all designed to inform our collective consciousness, right? They are man-made, and yet when you're looking at them from the internet, unless you're significantly, energetically sensitive, you're still going to get the larger imprint, as so to speak. And so that was a really fun piece of information to stumble upon, because it helped me integrate the like what you're saying, Elizabeth, that they're all useful. Just because they're man-made doesn't discredit the phenomenon, even though that was the attempt by the disinformation campaign. So a little backfire there.
Do you see this as, I don't think this is possible to do in the middle, or this in the middle of the night, Marla, with maybe flashlights or whatever, but outside this box looking thing, these crop is woven. And I would say, you see the lines through these are tram tracks that the farmer uses to fertilize and plant seeds. So I would say this is 100 feet across or something, but it is
just about 200, because usually the tram lines are 50 feet, so you can kind of measure it that way.
And so 200. So look at this.
So these are some great examples of the lay of the crop, right? Where then
the wheat thing. Yeah.
The wheat thing, where this is one of the harder things to reproduce with man-made technology, right? So I really love to focus on the lay, because I think that as our disinformation campaigns, amplified, then the crop circle detail became more sophisticated as well, to just kind of say like, hey, look at what's really happening, because to braid a lay like this is really, with that kind of precision, is really difficult.
It's impossible to do that in the middle of the night,
Yeah. And you like this one, Alan. This is one of your favorites.
Wait, which one? Let me get back. I'm looking for, which one is that?
This is the bird's nest, where in the middle of the crop,
Yeah, what's the circle look like there? But
I don't have the circle. I just have the bird's nest. But
oh.
this is here's one of the differences, Elizabeth, and I want, just stop me because I could just go on and on. But when they're man-made, there's, you can see the difference in how the crop has fallen with the, the curves, and then really clear demonstration of a technology that's, whether it's microwave or ionized plasma, whatever the technology is, that really the biophysical anomalies in the crop are fairly good empirical data for tech that is not easy to access by the average bear. So, I mean,
when I was driving around Wiltshire, I saw lights in the distance kind of come down to the ground there.
Mm-hmm.
Show Marla the big one, the triple Julia set, and that famous, probably the most famous complex one ever made.
The Milk Hill.
Yeah, no, the one, that one. Yes, look at that.
Yeah, so that's 409 circles, and each circle, the lay of the crop goes opposite, right? It's one circle is twisting one way, the next circle is spinning the other, and this was made around solstice in England, and so there's about 4 hours of darkness, and there was a huge storm. And this one is very famous for appearing overnight. And, really one of the hey, there's something going on here. Attention seekers.
Blew everyone away. I mean, how do you make, and there's a harmonic, there's a music actually to it somehow, but my theory is that who's ever doing this is trying to set up new neurocircuitry in our brains by looking at these new patterns of perception. That's what I
love that, Ellen.
I do too. I love this one. But the thing that you can start with the biophysical anomalies, and I think that's some really nice evidence to suggest and help people come around to the idea that maybe there are advanced civilizations participating. But then the other day, I really have gone to, there's the empirical evidence, and then there's the next level of esoteric involvement and interface with consciousness, right? And all of the spontaneous healings and the suggestion of the subtle realms, right, with the sonic technology and the aligning of the hemispheres of the brain. There's so much information and anecdotal information about healings. But then I really have gone to the next level about the starships and the races that are involved and oversee the project, and they really are here for humanity, and the layers of glyphs and observations for our DNA from the genuine ones is really some fascinating stuff. So there's so many levels, and I'm with you, Alan. I'm just endlessly fascinated by them.
Me too.
And even if they're man-made now, I still think they're useful.
No, I don't think this. Yeah. This is so, and those smaller lines are so narrow, and I don't think they could possibly, one anyway, be man-made because they're so intricate. But what do you get from looking at these, Marla, as you're a psychic, intuitive, healer, shaman, medicine person?
Thank you. Well, first, what I got excited about, Alan, is when you said they create new neuronal pathworks. So I have to, I just have to tell you my experience of them. First of all, this one and the last one are making me dizzy. And the last one really was, when you talked about harmonics, that was singing. I mean, it's singing. And but I don't know that I could describe, I don't know that I could pull in psychic words for that level of singing. I mean, that's what the round circles seem to be to me.
I'm just opening another PowerPoint here, so bear with me.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
I mean, Elizabeth, do you get a particular message from any of these, Elizabeth, like a particular something?
Well, I want to say first that, Nadia, I'm so glad you brought that up about some of the man-made ones coming from people who were highly spiritual and were downloading the designs, and then I guess literally shown how to get them down into a wheat field or a cornfield. because I uncovered exactly that same thing. So there's as much diversity in the community around Wiltshire as there is in our world. It's like a nutshell of our world as a whole, where you have these real extraterrestrial phenomena, and then you have people who download the phenomena and can reproduce them to a certain extent convincingly. And then you get the people that you call the what do you call them? The misinformation campaign. So you have all of those things going on at the same time, people trying to make money off them, people who don't make money off them. There's all that stuff going on. So they've always fascinated me. And as I say, I'm as interested in intraterrestrials as extraterrestrials. I'd love to know more, Nadi, about which of the ETs are involved in these, because I hadn't heard that before. That specific actual ETs had talked about making them is new to me. So I'm excited about hearing more about that.
Yeah, tell us, Nadi, which one?
Yay! This is so fun. This is a back-to-back days of crop circles. Yes, and I also wanted to follow up with our conversation about the Arcturians last time and see if you had, before bedtime, gone and talked to them. And it is, the word on the street, as far as I can tell, is that the blueprints for all of the crop circles, ET made or man-made, are kept in a holographic living library on the Arcturian mothership. And the crop circle project is overseen by the Galactic Federation, which includes many, many specialists designed with neutral agenda to oversee the evolution of many of the planets, not just humanity. And this is part of the contact specialist outreach, if you will, is they begin to send encoded images and to help humanity and different civilizations activate their consciousness to connecting with galactic intelligence. And so Galactic Federation means representatives from all sorts of civilizations, Pleiadians, Andromedans, Sirians, Lyrans, Mantids, many, 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 Zetas, many at consciously, advanced conscious beings that are here to promote unity consciousness in the universe.
Look how subtle that one is, Marla. You see, you can't see that subtle bend on the ground so much,
Right. Here's this one.
I mean,
wow.
I love this one. This is a hyperbolic cube.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned, Nadi.
You'll have to come to England with us, Marla.
Yeah.
To feel them in person must be something. But does the message, when you see them in person, does the message resonate through in this kind of a silly question in the same way as the message we get now?
I think you don't see them from the ground. That's the idea.
Right.
So, but you do, I did feel them, and I felt something different in each one. So it's maybe it's more physical when you're in them. I mean,
I'm sure.
Look how complex this one is, right?
Oh my God.
Well, they're really, I'm into the sort of psycho-spiritual activation, right? Like, I don't quite know what's going on, but I came across one from this year the other day, and I literally just started bawling. Just this, unsolicited a feeling of homecoming, and like I'm looking at this crop circle going like, I miss you so much, and I don't know quite what's happening. But these are, to me, these are extraordinary communications from our home team.
Do you have a picture of that one? Do you have a
What's
picture
that?
of that? Yeah.
How do you mean that? Sorry?
The one you just described.
The one that you were crying about.
Yes. Okay. This is fascinating. Let's see. Where is it? Okay. It's so funny because it is one of the more basic circles you'll probably see in a while. They're so elaborate. And this one is just 2 circles. And I realized I don't know what I was watching, but I realized that it's a portal. And I did not understand that at the time. Let's see, it's the Longwood Warrant. No, which one is it? This will take me a second to find it. But I was kind of blown away by being blown away by two circles. Oh, I think it's this one. Okay. Okay, so I just open it and then I'll screen share, right?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get back here.
I could also, I'll screen share some of my favorites too.
Yeah. So this happened, I don't know, Alan, this was an 8-8 one. This was the very low, this was the low key. Nobody really saw this one because there was another one on 8-8 that was a real showstopper. This one.
Yeah.
This one. For me, I had the most visceral, that's how I know they're real, visceral, physical, energetic response. And if you can imagine, it's a portal. And I had no idea about that at the time. I found that out just a couple days later and I went, oh, that's
wait, is this year, 2021?
This is this year. This was on August 8th.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, here,
yeah.
I want to show you some of
my... Yeah, you go for it. Let me do one thing, though, here, Alan, because you'll recognize...
Okay, sure.
Oh, no, I can't do it. You go ahead.
No, I think I'll show you the one I think you were interested in. I mean, there was one here that... let me see. Oh, that's a little. Oh, no, this one.
Yeah.
This coming out 2004 in Oxfordshire. But this is how you know they're real. These are called the nodes. This is like the joints in the plant, and there's some kind of heat, plasma heat that bends them, so they're not broken when they're laying down. They're actually bent. And then, so that's something to look for. And sometimes you see a little hole they call blown nodes. These are the nodes, and the heat gets so hot they blow a hole in them from the moisture inside the plant. Now, Nadi, you remember this one?
Yes. Oh, this is the one you like because of the phi. The
embedded
phi.
Like it because they were able to figure out what this means. I'll go back. This, if you follow these straight lines here, I have another diagram. They divide this whole thing into 10 parts. And someone did it in this diagram. So you start with the inside, and these are 3 parts. And then there's this little dot there. So no one can figure it out. So there's 3 and then dot, and then 4 and then 1 and 5. This is pi. This is the pi 3.141129 to the 10th digit. So that's pretty amazing that this is pi, a visual symbol of pi. I thought that was like, oh my God, how? So that was one that we could say, they're telling us something. They're telling us maybe a universal measurement, the radius divided, the circumference divided into the radius, the radius divided into the circumference at C equals 2 pi r squared. That's the formula for building. The circumference of the circle equals the radius times pi equals the square of the radius times pi, something like that. Pi being the Greek number. Basically, it's 7 divided by 22, 2 sacred numbers. This is another one of my favorites there. Did you ever see that one? I'm sure, Nadi.
Oh, I always had mixed feelings about this one.
Really? It's right near this underground tunnel in West Kennet, which is...
Oh, cool.
And then this one, the dragonfly. Mm-hmm. And these are the veins and the wings of the dragonfly. And I'll show you a ground shot of that. This is the ground shot.
Oh, wow.
Of these little things in the veins of the dragonfly. So, I mean, who's really going to take their time to do that? I mean, it's so odd. I mean, it is. And I'll just show you a few more. There's this one, which is, they do a lot of triangle ones. That was a kind of thing inside there. So there's a
Oh, yeah.
pages and pages of analysis between, but I'll show you one that I was in 2010. This is like a hypercube of a spinning tetrahedron. Now I was inside this circle, and you see the sort of slope, the sort of curve of this like lower triangle there. You cannot see that curve on the ground. You cannot, it looks straight on the ground. It looks like a straight line, but only from above.
It is. But it is. It's an optical illusion.
It's very, well, it's not an optical illusion because it is slightly curved. Right. On the ground, it's a little bit, but it's so subtle. It's so subtle that there's a lot of, so that was, but don't you think this is a spinning tetrahedron there, Nadi?
Yeah, I'd go hyperbolic on that. I mean, and the other thing is they're two, we see them as 2D. Really fun to try to break them out as 3D, but these things are just multidimensional and moving and alive, and there's so much, 4D, you name it.
What do you get from this one, Marla? Anything? I'm challenging
Ellen, I know you love to challenge me. Well, okay, first of all, they are all making me dizzy. Some of them like really relaxed me. Like, you know, my energy just came down, a couple that you showed. I'm struck by how some of them mean time to me, like really like mean a time. I don't know how to, you know, I don't have very good words for this. I'm stunned by all of them. And okay, I have a controversial question.
Sure, anything.
Okay. What do the plants themselves think of being involved in a crop circle? How do they feel or think about it?
That's a good question. Elizabeth probably has the answer for that because I don't understand I don't know. That's a great question. What do the plants think about their contortions in the fields? I don't know. I don't know. What do you get, Marla?
Well, I'd love to hear Elizabeth's answer. I think some of them really like participating and find it exciting. I think others feel a little resentful and put upon. Well, but I think it's a glorious way to go, isn't it? I mean, I think they're crops, right? Like they're all going to go at some point. And I personally think this is a glorious way that every stalk can have an impact on the world.
You know, they've planted seeds from some of these plants and they grow bigger, larger, faster, greater. Leventhal. Yeah, Leventhal did experiments. I knew John Burke from the BLT and Nancy Talbert too. I knew. I never met, but they would do experiments. They take the grains from these crops and plant them and do experiments. Some of them would even grow in the dark. So, and then, you know, the farmers would harvest these. So it's mixed in. So maybe there's a DNA change from people eating this stuff.
Interesting. Okay, Elizabeth, will you please tell us what you think the plants think or feel? Oh my God.
This is two on top of each other, but
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what, but anyway, this is, but I was in this one from Clay Hill, July 9th, and this is a cube, and I just want to show you, look, there's two different types of lay of the grass to give us this kind of multi-dimensional effect. So yeah, tell us, Elizabeth, what do you think?
Well, my first reaction to the question when I asked myself that and looked at the rows of wheat or corn, depending on what language you're in, was one of sadness, because I realized right away that these were cloned plants, that these were not natural plants.
Why do you say that? Why?
But these, look at them. It's monocultural crop. And it's, you know, produced seeds that these are, you know, they're Monsanto seeds. They're
Well,
Their
that's
genetic
all of farming is like that, though. I mean, that's
exactly. And so one of the reactions I got was maybe some of them were awake enough to say, yippee, a little excitement, or this feels good. Right. But
right.
on the whole, I could not tune into them the way I would to a tree or, something, a more natural plant. So
But
great
any
sadness.
any farm has that. You've passed
Yes, of
farms,
course.
and
Yes.
I mean, and so
Yes, and it always makes me sad
uh,
because monoculture is a crazy human idea. To clone things is not natural in nature.
right.
And it's why our food is so unhealthy that, the seeds have been GMO'd and these poor things are probably barely sentient, uh, which is just a terrible thing to do. It's like, what are prisoners like after a lifetime in a cell, or slaves after a lifetime under the whip? What's left of their humanity, or what's left of their plantality in those situations? So that raises a question of what they do for the aliens, in a sense, is they make a good canvas,
Yeah.
because it's so uniform that they can make such designs in it. But it's a whole new thing I had not thought about before. I'm glad you asked the question, though, because I think it's a good question, Alan, and that it's worth thinking about. What do the aliens think of our cloned agriculture?
Oh my gosh, that is such a awesome question and so beyond my pay grade. What comes to mind though about the plants is like, what if, I think this might be another option. What if, because it's this monochrome, am I saying that right? Just homogeneous crop. What if the plants that get to participate in this feel so special because the rest of it is just this mundane existence, and here they get to participate in some sort of collective consciousness activation.
That's what I said. Like, oh my God, something exciting enough to
exactly. The thing is when one thought is that when the advanced technologies are working with them, even when the nodes blow, the plant stays alive. In the man-made ones, they don't necessarily. And so that's a huge difference in terms of the consciousness of the plant and the interface and the energy of the whole thing. Yeah, sorry, Marla. Were you about
I was thinking what would be an interesting experiment is to, whether you do it from here or you do it in person, is not only to talk to the whole thing, but to go down and talk to one stock and what it thought, one plant. And I got, Elizabeth, when I really focused in, what I got is that they were pretty excited about it. And yeah, why not? I mean, they are the embodiment of transformation, right?
Yeah, it's like
that's a great way to put it. Yeah,
light energy came down on them. It can't have been an unhappy situation for them.
Yeah, they became
I think we're reading
special. Go ahead.
But I think I mean, I like the question, but I think I want to tune into the other end of the intelligence. Like, what is being communicated, and is this who are these beings? If you can tune in, I mean, maybe they're the Arcturians, but this is an ongoing experiment since 1980, Marla. This is like, and probably before that. And sometimes people don't even see these crop circles. So maybe it's a actual relationship to the earth itself, that where humans are incidental. That's one theory. Or maybe it is also meant for us to be seen. So yes, Marla. Yes.
I do have to say that one group who has been doing crop circles is thinking, how clear do we have to make it?
That's what you're getting. Clear. That's what you're getting from these ETs?
Yeah. How clear, like what
What's it going to take?
What's it going to take to let you know that we're here and that we're alive and that we're present and that we're engaging? Yeah, I didn't know that.
Wow. So you think there's many different groups that were probably part of this, or is there one? Or
Many.
you know, many, huh? Interesting.
But I think it might be, oh my God, I've never looked at this before. It's so fascinating. Nadi, I think it is, as you said, groups coming together. I don't think every time that it's groups coming together, but I think that's a good possibility. I also think you know what? I think they've been going on for a long, long, long time.
Yes.
Like ancient history, even.
For sure.
Even though they couldn't be seen from the sky at that point.
Yes. That's what I'm getting. Yeah. And I'm getting that very strongly. And you know me, Alan, I wouldn't say it if I didn't get it strongly.
I know you wouldn't.
Absolutely. This is a lineage of language.
And music. I'm going to show you something about the music. I'm sure you've seen this, Nadi, but this is powder on top of a metal plate with sound going through it, and
magnetics.
And yes. And this is I'm missing never mind. It wouldn't. I have to find the file for that. But anyway, the sound goes through them and they make these patterns. So that's what that, but I do have to find that sound file, but yeah, what do they call that, Elizabeth, you said?
It's either cymatics or kymatics.
Cymatics.
It's spelled CY. And you probably all have seen the videos of them, haven't you? Where they stand on a plate and then they do a violin bow on the side of the plate or something, and it arranges itself into patterns that look much like crop circles.
Right. So there's a sound harmonic. Yes. So these circles that have maybe here for hundreds of thousands of years may have been infusing sound vibrations into the earth.
Oh, interesting.
For some reason, there's so much mystery out there that.
Well, cosmic sound is actually at a higher vibration than light.
Oh,
I was quite confused about that for a long time because I couldn't figure out why is the Bible, in the beginning was the word. There are so many ancient traditions in which sound is the origin of the universe. And I kept being confused, but there are a couple of good books by Sufi masters. The World is Sound, and Hazrat Inayat Khan wrote a book about it. And he explained that you go through, our sound travels on airwaves, right? The sound you hear with your ear travels on airwaves. And then light is a higher vibration than that on the frequency scale. And beyond light, you're back into sound, but it's cosmic sound. And it does, because there's no airwaves for it to travel on, right? But it's still sound. So our version of airborne sound is in some way a reflection of cosmic sound, which is why we have the Om, the chants, so many traditions that see sounding as important and healing. I really believe in sound for healing. So color is light for healing, and there's also sound healing.
And the two together make a real package, sound and light.
Full spectrum, right?
Yes. But, as far as crop circles, because they were such direct messages, there was a whole debunking campaign that went on. And I have to show you this video from Yahoo because it's an embarrassment where they really tried to debunk it. I'll show you. It's Nadi, don't get nauseous when you see this, but it's really awful that they would take the trouble. Okay, see my screen now here? Okay, this was a campaign.
Brought to you by Toyota Avalon. Comfort is back. Hundreds of mysterious crop circles found in the middle of wheat fields started off as a series of hoaxes in the 1970s, but have turned into a thriving summer industry.
Right there, it turned into a thriving summer industry. Like it's that is just awful to say. It's not an industry. This was a whole other thing.
The circles first appeared in southern England, which is still where they're most common. In the beginning, they were just circles, but now the formations have been made into the shape of DNA strands, jellyfish, and snowflakes. They've cropped up across Europe and the United States, and some savvy farmers in England have even started charging admission to the more complex designs. No surprise, considering that some New Age believers still...
What's that?
Was that the dragonfly?
Was it? Well, I mean,
I think they were.
Here's where they put down the whole thing. No, that was another thing called the hummingbird. That's called the hummingbird.
Yeah. Okay. That's from the Nazca lines.
Yeah, this is a crop circle based on the Nazca lines. Exactly. It's actually in the shape of the Nazca line.
By the way, the Peruvians see those desert figures, the spider, the hummingbird, those Nazca figures as reflections of those patterns in the galaxy.
Oh, interesting.
So they too, they see those as being made by galactic beings.
Right. Well, I want to show you just this part where they totally put down all the
Why
things.
are we doing this, Alan?
Look at this, Nadi. Look at this.
Charging admission to the more complex
Okay,
designs.
not this one.
No surprise.
You know you're promoting this consciousness, right?
No, I'm not promoting it. I'm saying how awful it is that they want to denounce it. People believe this. They say a lot of New Age believers.
Crop circles are the work of aliens. The theory behind the 2002 movie, Signs.
It's an awful movie. They're putting the whole hypothesis down in their narrative of what they want us to believe.
What would you
Paranormal
expect?
investigators who study the wheat field phenomenon call themselves seriologists.
Now look at this. This is right out of Central Casting.
Right.
Alan, why are we doing this?
actors. But what?
The thing that I really appreciate about the circles, like the genius of it, right? Before
Yeah.
we bastardized it,
They're
is
not
that
telling-
the geometries are so open to interpretation, and they're simply a reflection of consciousness. So if you want to believe this, that's perfect. Go ahead, no problem.
Nobody's believing this. I want to show you how ridiculous they sound here.
But it's been known since 1991 that crop formations are man-made, when the original pranksters Doug Bauer and Dave Corley confessed to creating hundreds of the circles.
They got paid $100,000 to come out and show how they did that in the middle of the night. And they're all over Europe. Could you, Doug and Dave, really be in so many places at once? It shows the other ridiculous.
Directions for making your own with rope, planks, and wire can be found on the internet. And big companies like Nike and Pepsi have even sponsored crop circles in the shape of their logos. Logos are usually graphics.
Now they completely go off the subject and tell you a little truth. And then when they tell you a little truth, you think the whole thing must be true.
But the word actually comes from the Greek word for word. Logos is also the root of paleontology, sociology, zoology, and even seriology, the serious study of crop circles that pranksters began making on English farms in the 70s.
Isn't that awful? Isn't that just like there's a contrived campaign to denounce anything mystical in this culture and try to explain it. And then people watch this and with that little bit of truth, they think it's all true. And that's
What's
still
new, Alan? What's new? That's the story of our world, isn't
when I
it?
came across that, it's like, can't anyone see through this? This is just
I don't guess too many people are watching that one anymore. It's pretty old.
it is pretty old. But I just
If you see it, if you see through it, you see through it. If you don't, you don't. Fine. It's another bifurcation point of consciousness. And that's totally great. Stick with that video if you believe it, man. Like otherwise,
I don't
party's
believe,
over here.
no, but it influences people. It distorts their reality. And what you're giving them, Nadi, is they have to stretch, in order to bring that in. You don't need to stretch to look at that stupid little commercial. But to go beyond that and see, well, is there really a mystery to creation? People have to get out of their comfort zone and believe something new. That's what I say about the UFO phenomena. It's not fitting into your neat little belief of what we think the world is. It
But
is.
it's like the manifestation of 3D versus 5D consciousness, right? Like you can stay here and you can stay in the man-made and you can stay in the limited perspective, or you can take a leap and say, hey, there's more going on, and let's investigate, and find out what happens there. So to me, they're so magical. I'm so biased, but it's been great to talk about them.
What do you think, say, Elizabeth?
And well, of course they're magical, and so are orbs. Orbs are wonderful too. And what I discovered about orbs is they're real party animals. And one of my
What do you mean by that?
One of my very psychic friends confirmed that. And the reason is the first time I caught them inadvertently on camera, back when we used actual cameras,
Right.
like old-fashioned kind.
With film, yes.
It was in a brewery in some country. I don't remember whether it was in New Zealand or Brazil or someplace that I was. And they were all over the barrels in this barrel room in the brewery. And I asked a friend about that, because then later on, I quite often caught them on cameras when I was living on Mallorca. And it was always in festivity situations. It would be a concert or a beach party or something, when the most of them would show up. And I got some pictures that were spectacular, where you'd have big orbs like the size of a basketball almost, and it would be behind someone and you'd only see half of it, and then there'd be another one on her dress in front, so very 3D, very graphic, obvious, not exactly dust on my lens, right stuff. So and that I count them among the intraterrestrials, but I'm sure they also commune with the Arcturians or whoever is. Well, the Arcturians also seem to have a contingent of underground. Nadia, I did get the book, and I got about a third of the way into it until I kind of bogged down in the more pedantic aspects of it. And I think that the part that most turned me off was that they were harping on getting you out of the three-dimensional world into the fifth dimension. And my body kept saying, but we have to ground cosmic love down to our feet on this planet. We have to play the whole keyboard. I want to extend into the fifth dimension. I don't want to lift off in my body. I can go travel out of body. I've done that. So I know you can do that. And it's something I say to young suicidal kids, that they can train themselves to go in and out without sacrificing the body, where they give up the whole lower range of the keyboard, and then they can only play where the angels play. And also I've had some kind of negative experiences with people who really believed in the White Brotherhood. And there was it got dogmatic kind of and I kept saying, okay, that's this author's connection with them. That doesn't mean that they are really like that. So I have not lost my interest in the Arcturians or the Pleiadians or any of the rest of them. But I had little trouble with that particular literature. That I got what I needed out of, I think, the part that I did read. But now, like, yeah, I'd like to go to a healing room. But then he kept getting more and more specific about how you had to get yourself into the healing room, that you couldn't just call them down and say, help get me to your healing room.
What are those healing rooms you're talking about? And what?
Well, the Arcturians have something they call healing chambers, in which they apparently have healed a lot of people. But they are off planet on a mothership or somewhere else out there.
Yeah. How do you get to them? How do you get on the waiting list?
They'll read the book that Nadi recommends, and they'll tell you exactly how to do it. But it requires a lot of practice and work on your part.
Have you gotten there, Nadi? Have you gotten to those?
Yeah. It's a habit for me. It's a practice for sure. And Elizabeth, what I love is that you got the book, and you were open to it, and that's part I so appreciate. I was looking into your vast career. For whatever reason, I was talking with Alan, and he's like, "Yeah, that's Elizabeth Satoris. Do you know who that is?" And I was like, "Oh my God," because I think you only had Elizabeth up for a while, and I didn't realize your extensive life career and amazing contributions. And so I really appreciate that you have that, stay open and don't shut down information. And that in and of itself is such a life legacy. And I really appreciate your contributions. I just wanted to say, I mean, it's an honor to be here with all of you, but I really had no idea about the breadth of your work. And so thank you
Actually,
so much.
Nadi, my favorite thing about looking back on my life is the immense variety of venues that I've been called into. And I don't think there are a whole lot of people on the planet that have been called to speak at everything from Catholic bishops asking me how to redefine God for this modern age, or nuns, like that, and then crop circle people, and then the whole business world. I asked my very psychic friend who was a businesswoman, she's retired now, but why did you bring me into the business world because I think I had talked about living economies. I had been interested in economics, in global economics from the 60s. I was reading books about the global economy and then looking at nature for how does nature do economics. But it had never occurred to me to go speak in the business world. And then all of a sudden I was, called to all these different businesses. And recently, just Dubai 2040, help advise us on how to do Dubai 2040 in the United Arab Emirates, or do this with, helium balloons and dirigibles. And it's just been crazy variety of everything from the most psychic, spiritual to the most grounded stuff. And I asked my friend why, and she said, because you, of all the people in your circles of like evolutionary leader type people, are the only one I know of who can get out of her way enough to connect with people where they are in their fields. Mm-hmm. And it was maybe the best compliment I've ever been paid. Because most people, she said, they just want to go in and give their stuff regardless of who it is, and you step aside and connect. So it's just who I am. It's
hello.
I'm fascinated by cross-cultural stuff is enormously fascinating to me. I've lived in different cultures and spoken different languages, and I look back at my Earth Dance book, and there's so much stuff about linguistics and psychology and stuff, logic, and how to get beyond the science I was trained in. And
you're still at it, Elizabeth. That's the incredible thing.
Yeah. If I can just figure out how to get this healing done so I can think straight.
Well,
you guys are a great distraction.
No, I think you're doing great because you haven't lost that inquisitiveness. You haven't lost your...
No, and I'm absolutely convinced that aliens, ETs, whatever you want to call, cosmic beings have been here forever. And probably GMO'd us, some of them. And so be it, what does that mean for us? We have to figure that out. And now, Alan, thanks to your recommendation, Diane asked me to lead off the next EL's.
Yes. Well, I want to invite everyone here. We do a once a month with the evolutionary leaders.
We can invite Marla and Nadi to that one if you want to speak to that.
Yes.
Because it's about cosmic contacts.
Mm-hmm.
It's a subgroup of the evolutionary leaders that got interested in this and want to figure out what to do with it. So Diane just asked me yesterday, please give me a title before I go off to Greece because she's traveling.
Yes.
And so I said, what am I going to call it? What am I going to call it? And I said, Cosmic Guidance for Human Evolution. And she said, great, I love it. So, dears, You have
So
to help me.
this is September 25th. I'll send you guys the Zoom, and
It's
it's,
the 28th.
oh,
or
is it
9th.
28th? Oh, sorry. Let me
It's
check
the
my,
9th. It's 4 weeks after the one that was this morning that we were
oh,
was
okay. Okay, let me just,
ridiculously early morning for me.
is it early for you?
I
These?
think they're every 4 weeks, like they're always on the first, what is today? Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month, or the every fourth Wednesday, something like that.
Think,
Anyway, we'll get them the information in time. And because I do believe that the whole point of their coming here is they're not here only to watch us like a TV show. You know, they're maybe it amuses some aliens to keep us as pets, or, you know, I used to think the whole of human evolution might be one of their experiments, right? Long
right.
before I heard about being GMO'd. It seemed to
So
me.
why
that it was
are they here,
possible.
Elizabeth? Why are they?
Well, I think that an awful lot of them, the contact is about genuine concern for what we're doing to our planet, the stupidity of destroying your own natural infrastructure, and how much harder it is to live. And I mean, I'm one of those people who wants to know, do Arcturians eat and pee? You know, do they have to
Well,
cook
that's
their food?
Naughty. She knows them pretty well.
Or-
It's so different.
Because I think they really appreciate what it means to have full-blown bodies that are dependent on Earth to constantly be recycling energy as food through themselves. And it's a whole different ball of wax from being able to just mind your ship where you want and slide up and down the keyboard to be seen or not be seen, and never have to worry about having a kitchen on board or a bathroom.
Well, some of them don't eat. They do put this stuff on their skin. They put nutrition on their skin. That's why they smell so bad.
To us.
To us.
That's relative, Ellen.
They
What a
don't have a
sweeping
sense.
generalization.
They don't have a sense of smell, at least the grays I'm talking about, because they've lost that sort of sense, I think. You could tell by their small nose. So,
Well, some people talk about the grays as a warning of what we might become if we get only into our heads
I think so.
and do all this transhuman engineering and artificial intelligence stuff that will end up with wispy little no good bodies and, you know, big heads and nothing else.
I think that's true. That has been the warning for us, that don't get the big head, you know. No, but that's a one divergent point in history we could go down or not. But we are in a mess now, aren't we, Marla?
I was just thinking the same thing. We're in a mess and we need hope and help and encouragement. And I really feel that most of those cosmic beings, I feel like they've been through it before. Like they've already evolved. So I really think they're trying to help. They're trying to help. I think more than give us hope, I do feel that they are trying to give us information that that
like
will help
what?
in a practical way.
What kind of information are you getting?
Very clear. They don't fuck up your planet.
Well, everyone's saying that.
That's so great.
We're all trying to say that, right? I mean,
Well, I'll say this, and I have no opinion on my words that are about to come out. They're showing me dams, rivers, and water flow, and that we could control our water flow in a way that would be more harmonious for human beings, but it would also be more productive and more efficient. So that's one thing I see. And also, that same group is showing me that we should have respect for water, that we don't get what it really means. They're not condemning our ignorance, but I don't know, they feel bad for us. So that's one thing I see: the dams, the rivers, and the controlling of water, but not in a bad way.
in a good way.
I remember a funny cartoon about aliens saying, do you know those humans, they poop into their drinking water? And it
Yeah.
gave me this, I went on this whole thing about researching how did we ever get into flush toilets, right? And why are we still doing them?
Why is a good, I think in Egypt they had the dung beetle, which would take dung and turn it into powder.
At the dung beetle, be careful what you say about them, because that's the scarab and that's the link between heaven and earth.
I know, but they were very
used-
important in Egypt to turning dung into, usable fertilizer.
Exactly. So they revered those beetles. And I used to tell my kids that I had incarnated as a human because I was a bad dung beetle. I didn't
Oh my
roll
God,
that
that's
shit right.
Oh my God.
I have
That's
a
a great-
question.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
just
and-
want
No, I'm still getting a little.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
okay,
I
nice.
just want to say very quickly, I very proudly have a composting toilet.
Yay!
We all
so
should.
happy. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. By
Yeah.
the way,
Thank you,
was
Marla.
it, is it you who have been working in the hospital in Cairo?
Nope, not me.
Oh, it was somebody else in the
You
group. I
did
found
work in
out.
the hospital in the Hudson Valley. Didn't you say that, Nadi?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, you don't mean Egypt.
No. I meant Cairo in the Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
I asked my older brother whether I had misremembered the name of the hospital we were born in as Memorial Hospital. And he said, no, it was called Memorial Hospital of Greene County.
Yes, that's the
And-
same one. It was
I'm
well,
sure
no,
it's the
Greene
same
County
one.
was on that side of the river, Columbia County. But there was only kind of one hospital, so I don't. But you know what? We're close enough to count in terms of some extraordinary connection.
I think you were in the hospital in which I was born, and that they've renamed it and rebuilt it.
I think
Probably.
so too.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cosmic.
Yeah,
Wait.
I like it.
I like it. Wait, Marla, what were you going to say there?
Well, sometimes when I get psychic information, it continues to roll through. So I just wanted to add something to.
Please.
Yeah.
This is what I see. So the dams are very high. And then when the water comes down, it's in, there's like rock formations and tiers and terraces, but it's all organized to clean and purify the water so that the water is different by the time it gets into the river and moves into the population. So I don't know a thing about this, Elizabeth. So I want to know, would that kind of terrace system, would it purify water?
Oh, yes. I mean, for one thing, there are plants that clean water. And there are some plants that do it more efficiently, more effectively, like bulrushes. A woman named Käthe Seidel in Germany at the Max Planck Institute pioneered cleaning water using plants. And she worked particularly with two kinds, with bulrushes. If you throw sewage into a field of bulrushes, you'll get clean water at the other side of the field. And the other one is the Venezuelan water lily, we call it. Somebody in Florida brought some plants because they flower and they're pretty and they kind of float on the surface. And they planted them in their garden in Florida. And now it costs Florida millions of dollars a year to get these plants out of the waterways in Florida because they reproduce so crazily. And you can't do anything with them. If you press them into wallboard, they sprout eventually. Even though they're dried and pressed. And so anyway, plants are remarkable water cleaners. So any kind of a terrace situation where you keep water flowing through, and like I keep thinking Bali and places like that where the World Bank, wanted to go in and change the whole rice production system. And they wanted to destroy this old system that was all terraced fields and shared water. And you open one sluice for the farmer on that side this day, and tomorrow it gets shunted the other way. And even in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, in their mountains, they had these canals and waterways all worked out, how to harvest and conserve water and do trickle agriculture, and all of those things were known in ancient times. So they're absolutely right that we're doing our water management in all the wrong ways. And that there are ways that, like I said, when we got too civilized, we stopped recycling and we stopped cleaning up. And that's why we ended up with disease epidemics and things like that.
Well, it was Tesla who looked at the Niagara Falls and said, if we put turbines under those falls, we can get that water to create energy for us. And that was the first.
Well, hey, that's called the old water wheel in Egypt and other places. Right?
I know. Well, it makes a lot of energy, those waterfalls. And so that was one person who understood how we could use the natural cycles of the earth instead of burning fossil
Brazil
fuels.
makes 25% of Brazil's energy is made from water power.
Yeah. We don't need to burn. I don't even think fossil fuels are fossilized. I think oil is a natural product of the earth itself. They're not dead dinosaurs. I mean, I think that's like the lymphatic gland of the earth.
And now,
Okay, I'm getting something else. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, and Elizabeth is going to confirm whether because I don't know what it is. So I see like dirt piles that are in pyramid shapes, and they tell me that this is healthy. But I don't know what it means.
It may energize the soil.
are these solid dirt piles or earth piles, or are they hollow?
They're solid. I mean, there's air in there, but they're not compacted, but they're like loose earth. But they're telling me that the shape is important, not symbolically, but biologically.
Pyramid technology is extraordinary.
Pyramid technology, right? They creates energy.
Yeah.
Those sloping lines.
Yeah. Yeah. The energetics and the way that the harmonics of pyramids like influence the structures inside of them is extraordinary technology. I mean, the Russians are into that, but it's completely suppressed. It's extraordinary stuff. So that makes sense to me that you're getting that, Marla.
Pyramid means fire, pyra in the middle. Fire in the middle. That's what pyramid
That's why
means.
I asked if they were hollow. Yeah.
But they're dirt. I don't
Well-
see like anything else in there. It's not like things are growing on them. It's not, but I don't know.
Well, maybe it's to energize the soil itself,
Oh God, yeah, like regenerating our soil would be fundamental to human survival, which it's so depleted nutritionally. But that would make a lot of sense to promote growing through soil in the pyramids. I mean, the nutritional value, the germination speed, and like it is extraordinarily documented. So that would be really cool if that's what was coming through, Marla. I don't know if that resonates.
I see a number of them. And it has to do with healing the earth. And yeah, I'm sure you're right there, because it's hot in there. It's hot.
Well,
energetically hot or temperature hot?
Temperature, like the further you go into the middle of it, the hotter it gets.
Yeah. Well, if you have sloping sides like that, you can get solar energy, more solar energy than if it's just flat.
This kind of makes me feel like crying.
Oh.
That that ideas would be coming through. Not in a bad way, but that here it is. I know nothing. Here it is, information that we could access. Apparently it's old information that we could utilize. It's so nice. It's so kind.
That's why we need people like you to speak those visions. It's always come through as the visionaries, the evolution of culture, the evolution of, it's probably where agriculture came from in the first place. Someone had a vision. All great creations come from the visionary realm. So
I think agriculture came from spitting pits.
that could be.
Well, I wonder, Marla, what kind of divine guidance your team orchestrated bringing you to Alan, who regularly is saying, "What do you get about that, Marla?" Like maybe it's just,
he pushes
trying
me,
to elicit
doesn't he?
this. this
You need
new
to be
level
pushed,
of
Marla,
information.
because you're a wealth of untapped resource. So I'm just tapping that.
Oh, thank you, Alan. Well, I realized something in a lot of ways, because you've heard this before. My spirituality and my own mental, emotional, whatever evolution was happening in a cave. I really was, I was teaching and I was giving psychic readings, but I wasn't sharing that much. And but I always knew I was supposed to, but whatever, things happen in the way they should, I guess. But here is how I found you, Alan. I said to Henrietta, I need people who are asking the questions. I need people who are thinking. I need to talk to the scientists. I need to talk to the researchers. This is, faith is good, but I have a lot of questions. And I think that the questions are the things that will propel us forward.
Yes. Yes.
So then she said, well, I know Alan.
I'm asking a lot of questions
It's a
too.
one-stop shop.
It's a one-stop shop.
Well,
I love it, Alan. And
well,
then
yes,
this is not important, but
it
she
is.
said, well, we have a little group that meets every Wednesday. So the first time I came on,
Yeah.
I had no idea that we were going live, all of it. I had no idea.
Right.
And I can't tell you how delighted I am. I can't tell you.
Thank you for being here and sharing and opening up, because I know it's new territory and a lot of people like you. I'm not saying you, a lot of people like you like to have it secure and somewhat predictable and not go off into outer space and anything like that. But you've taken the leap.
Alan, are you
Yeah.
getting any feedback from the Facebook?
I do get a lot of great, well, it's on YouTube. I do get a lot of great feedback. I haven't checked tonight, but there always is
They
some.
like our conversations?
Some people really like it. Let me see, where are they saying now?
Where
Right
is
now.
Henrietta, by the way?
What's that?
Where's Henrietta?
Oh,
Isn't she?
Henrietta went to England and it's like 3 a.m. there. So
Okay.
I get a lot of chat on my on this YouTube. Let us see, what are they saying tonight? Sorry, let me just, do you get the YouTube also, Nadi? You
So I
see
get your
I'm just looking for the,
Hey, while you're
was
looking, can I say
actually-
something else?
yes, please.
Because I'm still getting images from the same group. So Elizabeth, I'm looking to you for confirmation. Of course, Nadia and Ellen too. So they show me that there's a big red fruit that would be really good for us to grow. And it kind of looks like a tomato, but it's like this big. Like if it's a tomato, it's the biggest one you've ever seen. Now, what could they be talking about?
A big red fruit, like a watermelon?
Yeah, I think it's more like a watermelon than a tomato, but they tell me it's super rich in they say you like those antioxidants, it's super rich. They're making a joke actually about that. It's super
red?
rich in, it's red, like
pomegranate.
red.
Pomegranate?
It's the biggest one you've ever seen.
I love pomegranates.
Pomegranate was the first thing that came to my mind, maybe super big pomegranates. Breadfruit is the most miraculous nutrition tree that is completely no work agriculture.
Oh, now
and-
maybe that's it.
You don't get, but it's not red. It's not red.
Breadfruit is called ulu in the Pacific, where it comes from originally, ulu. And it has many, many uses.
But it's very sweet, isn't it?
No. Mm-mm.
Breadfruit.
Before it's really ripe, it can do anything a white potato can do. And after it's ripe, it can do anything a sweet potato can do. It gets sweet.
Oh, So, oh, sorry.
It has
Now
no.
I'm all excited now.
Anyway, check that out some more, Marla, and let's figure it out, because maybe it's a giant pomegranate. They certainly are.
Well, what I have noticed, can I just give a little example for Alan? Okay,
Tell
but
us the story
to
too.
illustrate this red fruit. So what I saw was a red fruit, but what if that's just a way to say the words red fruit by showing me
red fruit, breadfruit.
Yes, breadfruit.
Breadfruit is a big issue for me because the big corporations are trying to patent it and clone it and do all the wrong things with it. It's the most prodigious tree in the world. It grows little breadfruit trees up and down every branch. It reproduces itself like crazy. And then some of these people got hold of it. They bring them into labs and they sterilize them, and then they force them into growth again, and then they sell the trees. And it's just the worst way to do this, because it's so easy to propagate these. And a couple hundred years ago, the Polynesians sailed around South America into the Caribbean, and in the Caribbean islands, people have breadfruit trees in their front yards, right? Because you just sit under them until they drop the fruit on you. They don't have any pits. You peel them and the whole thing is edible. You don't have to do anything. But
this
just
sounds dreamy for us.
Even the skin.
And it's creamy. No, the skin you take off.
Okay.
Now, what color is the skin?
It's sort of alligatorish, dark green.
Mm.
Dark green to like avocado, like a giant avocado that was a rough kind of skin.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up, breadfruit, ulu to us. We have annual ulu conferences here that I speak at, another kind of venue.
Wow.
Well, breadfruit sounds like the thing they're talking about, but I thought it was.
I think it's more like. Sorry.
Go ahead.
What do you say?
We're coming up close on when I have to get out of my chair.
Okay. It's coming to that time, is it?
Yeah.
I have a view. Oh, go ahead.
I have just one question, Alan, Nadi, maybe Marla. Have you ever heard of the guy named Miguel Mendonça, who has produced 3 books about extraterrestrials? Miguel Mendonça.
I don't have a.
He became a friend through his interviewing me for 2 books that he wrote after
There he is.
Being with the Beings, or
Meet the Hybrids with Barbara Lamb.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Miguel has become a friend, and he's not doing that kind of book anymore. But I have all of those, and it's another book. It's like yours, Alan, in that it has these different hybrids that give their own stories, and you can. And he asks each one of them always the same series of questions. So it's a fun way to compare their answers.
Can you tell him to come on next week and join us?
I don't know. He's in England, so it's that it would be that nasty hour problem.
We could maybe make it earlier. If he's willing to do that, we could do it earlier. I mean, this has become our steady crew, which is really nice. It's been lots of different.
The one that I was interviewed for first was people's experiences of wisdom. And I got him to interview a wonderful Samoan elder into whose family I've been adopted here in Hawaii. And he's just, I love the way he talks. All of his metaphors are about sailing in canoes and being on land and how do you paddle through storms and, stuff like that.
So he's met hybrids. Is that what you're saying? Is that what he's?
Meet the Hybrids, Being with the Beings, and I forget the third was the first one has a different title. There are 3 of them that he did.
He has ongoing contact, you're saying?
Well, he was an environmental engineer, and somehow he got led into interviewing people about extraterrestrials. And so he did 3 whole books on it, and then he went on to do books on other subjects.
That is correct. Yeah. So what are the books like?
He got in touch with me because he had heard me give a Schumacher lecture in Bristol, England, many years ago for Schumacher College.
Right. I love Schumacher. What's his name? I read his great book.
Satish Kumar.
Yeah. Right.
Sat-
But no, but Schumacher himself was a writer.
Oh, yes. Small is Beautiful.
Yes. And there was another book.
And the founder of Schumacher College is Satish Kumar, who walked from India to England in his youth with nothing but a tin cup or something, right?
Long way to
And then
go.
walked around England 3 times when he got there. And his mission as a young man was to visit the 4 nuclear capitals of the world: Moscow, New York, what was it? London, and what's the 4th one?
Paris. No, Rome.
I don't know. Anyway, he walked through all of Afghanistan, the mountains. Imagine, it's a long way from one village to the next on foot. Right?
Wow. I think I met him once.
He's an amazing man. Yeah, he's still around.
Wow. Well, you've definitely had an interesting time on this planet, Elizabeth.
Yeah, amazing.
You've met some of the best, the greatest.
Been an amazing ride, and like a good cat, I've had a good 9 lives.
Right. But you're still at it. You're still going for it. You're still
You want me
learning.
to have a 10th?
Now, as many as you want. That's all.
Well, I don't know. That's my ambivalence.
Well,
Anyway, leave that.
Well, we need you, Elizabeth.
Leave
Yeah.
that question open.
there's
Leave it-
more wisdom.
We need you.
It sounds
Okay,
like-
well, we'll work on healing me, okay?
Yes, we will heal you.
Thank you. You're just wonderful to be around. It's delicious. I always wonder if we can fill 90 minutes and then.
No, I'm really happy because I'm
So-
learning from everything that's being said here.
Right.
Yeah.
You all are. We're all learning from each other. That's the beauty of it.
That's why, it's like a little club where the world's listening. So, or whoever's listening is listening.
Right. We have to
Can
remember.
we say hello to everybody who's listening?
Yes,
Yeah, hi, from us in the fishbowl here.
Yeah, we send you love.
there's a lot of, if you look on the chat, we got a really lively chat today. James Hadaway, Whitney B, Frank.
Oh, Elizabeth, go take care of your back.
Yeah.
Please. Okay. We'll sign off.
Alan, copy some out and send us an email. With
Oh,
some-
that's a good idea. Yes, I'll copy them out. That's a great idea. You're full of good ideas, Elizabeth.
Bye-bye.
I'll
See
see
you.
you soon. Yes, we'll be in touch, and I can get this healer to call you. I'll ask for your number. I'll email you, and then
Just why don't you email me? Yes.
I'll
thank-
email you. Okay.
Thanks,
Great.
love.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Alan, could you stay on for 1 minute?
Yeah.
Or-
Yes,
or
no, I
can
want to
tell you
stay
now?
on. I just want to say Elizabeth is truly a remarkable person. I mean, read
Oh.
her papers, her books, her her work, right, Nadi?
Yes, and I just familiarized myself with what I did not know before. I mean, what an extraordinary human and contribution and lifetime. I mean, it's really something to sit with her and, I mean, all of us, it's a wonderful collective effort, but it really is remarkable.
And she's very humble. She's incredibly
Yeah.
humble and just regular too, just like a regular sort of person there. So, yeah.
Well, I think that openness, and as she was describing, one of the people who can cut across all disciplines, right? Someone who can show up and be present and relate to all the different passions in this world. That is such an advanced human and a skill set that obviously serves her, but serves humanity so much that she can bring her intelligence to a large audience. It's great to be connected to her.
She must be an Aquarius. No, I don't know.
Marla, it's awesome to hear your insights. There's part of me that so appreciates when you do this, like, can I just tell a story, or I just have a question, right?
It's
But
so sweet, Mahler. It's very
I know.
nice.
But part of me just wants
Terrible.
you to like jump in and just get in and say, here's what I've got right now, you know, and I love it. And I did not know that all of this was brand new to you. And so I really appreciate your expansion and sharing with us, you know, as the messages come, and just learning how to listen and then sharing with us how to listen too. It's really great to share time with you.
Oh, you're so kind. One of the things I respect so much about you is that, Nadi, you worked as a nurse. You went through the system. A therapist? Oh, I thought you were a nurse.
No,
so
therapist.
You went through the whole system and you came out open-ended.
Yes, I did. It was a great education to learn, you know, that there are other ways, right? So yeah, open-ended shot me out of that closed system, you know. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for it. So grateful for that time. There are so many times I wake up in my navigating extraterrestrial realms and other states of consciousness, and that I can say, you know, oh, I have some mental health training. I can clearly identify symptoms of psychosis and a spiritual awakening. That's really handy.
It's really handy. It's important. There's a lot of people have spiritual experiences who are doubting, fearful, maybe amazed and enchanted and all of that, but people do get afraid. I had a lot of anxiety in the beginning. Like, I knew in a way what was happening, but it was so unknown, and I was so quickly propelled into it that I have complete compassion for anybody who begins to have those otherworldly experiences. And now we know they're just natural. They're just normal. They're built into who we are. So yeah, I look forward to our culture being so much more open about this. And, you know, there are religions who have confirmation, obviously, usually rituals from being a young person to a more mature person. You know, like confirmation in any Christian church, for example. But we need, I'm not talking about ritual right now, but we need acknowledgement and confirmation of people who open spiritually.
Yeah.
Not to mention support, not to mention that.
I
have a gift. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead. You say what you were going to say. You have
Okay. Well, first of all, now that I'm deep in it, I'm going to happily give messages from extraterrestrial beings from now on. Oh my God, you've been pushing me so hard, Alan. All right. But
because you're worth pushing.
Oh, thank you. That's an honor. Okay, now listen, guys. So a student of Guru Jagat's called me today. From Germany.
Yeah, I've been showing that to students. Yes.
And Guru Jagat gave her a message, and I would really love to share it with you.
Oh my God, yes.
I know, it's so exciting. Look, I have it written down.
I just played, there was her birthday yesterday or 2 days ago on August 30th, and I played your reading at a little circle gathering at the Rama for her. So people really appreciated that. So tell me, oh my God, tell me what happened.
I know, I've been dying to tell you. Okay, so, and this was just today. All right. She said, and this is short, this earth life is the smallest part of all life.
Wow. Guru Jagat's student called you to tell you that she got.
When she called me, I got a message from the guru for her.
Why did she call you, her student? Why did she call you?
She called me for a psychic reading.
Oh.
Which actually was a big soul reading, and it was just completely acknowledgement of what a light, bright spirit she is. But yeah, that's what Guru Jagat said.
That message from Guru Jagat, or Katie, as I knew her, she said say that again.
This earth life is the smallest part of life.
Wow.
So what she means is, of course, that life expands far beyond our experience here. And she said about our Earth life, it's beautiful and enjoy.
Oh, tell her I say hi. I miss her. I've known her for 20 something years. I still know.
Wow.
We
She's
did
very, very busy over there, Alan. She's very busy being.
Yeah, well, aren't we all busy being wherever we're busy being it?
Yes.
We
She's
did
having fun on a lot of different realities, which she did here anyway. I saw that today in the reading. I saw that. I saw how she was living, yes, on many different realities, and she could connect to many different realities in her students so that she could see where they were living, like what they needed physically, what they needed emotionally, what they needed mentally. And she was all about teaching them for their own good. I mean, good in a big way, like for their own development. But she can be in tune with like 20 people at once, like on all these levels.
I'll send you some of her talks if you want, because she was quite dynamic and passionate about being alive. Do you know who I mean, Nadi?
Oh, I love her. She's one of the, like, when it comes to gurus sharing information, she's almost like the one that I'll tune into.
You know, we made a movie together, a spiritual comedy we made together before she was.
Oh, she did that with you. That's right. That was a huge piece. Was that small clip that you showed me?
What, Never Wear Dead Man Shoes, that one?
Yeah, we watched it when we were in Sedona. I think you showed me a little bit of it, or a clip.
Oh, yeah, she produced that. I directed that. And we had so much fun. Well, it was intense, but getting the money for this film was really kind of fun. We went to this really rich guy we knew, and we said, you know, we have this question, we have this plan. And then he said, sure, I'll give you a couple of thousand to do, or more to do that. And then we just left, and we just kind of hugged each other and laughed. And it was just, she had an incredible laugh. And it was just a joyful time. It was just a joy. Did you see the movie of her life? Did you see the movie they did about her recently? Oh my God, that was the best movie I've ever seen about.
What's it called? Is it just her name? And
I think it is. I think it's, yeah, I can find it on YouTube. It's just a beautiful portrayal of actually her last days, but you know, so
you know,
deep.
Alan, I have a temptation to somehow ask you something that you would say to Marla, which is like, what do you make of all of it? You know, something
you can always ask me that. That's fine.
No, you've been doing this for so long. I saw, I mean, you're right up there with Elizabeth in terms of your devotion and life's work. I was watching a video with Marie Rodwell, and it was a conference, and you introduced her, and I'm like, oh, he's everywhere, you know? So what do you know, what's your perspective after years? Are you seeing progress? Are you, you know, what's your reflection?
I think, yeah, thank you for asking. I think we're at the precipice of a new moment, a new push. Everything seems to be collapsing and falling apart, which is great because it has to fall apart because it really wasn't working in the way that it could. So we're at the precipice. It's like a jumping off point. And I don't know how long that moment will last, but maybe a few years, but there's something new and bigger unfolding. And will we take the leap into the unknown, or will we want to hold on to the known? But I think a lot of us gathered in Sedona, not even around, are going for something new. And so everything has been a kind of prehistory to this moment that we're in. It's been a prologue to real history. And so we're about to go into something, I think maybe I'm just being optimistic, but some type of new civilization that some of us are already living it, some of us are hoping for it, but there is different vibration. I think that's what these last 2 years were about, readjusting the frequency, and we're still going through it. They're still all over the place. So what I make of it is, I think it's a progress towards the unknown, towards something that we have yet to cognize. Marla, do you know the difference between cognition and recognition? Do you know the
I
difference?
do.
Tell
Didn't we
us.
learn that in 7th grade?
Yeah, what's the difference?
Well, recognition is acknowledging, and cognition is thinking, is it not?
Sort of. Recognition is to recognize.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
Oh, God.
but
The
how
things
do
I
you-
learn. Does
but-
anybody have a dictionary?
Yeah,
Kidding.
but cognition is a kind of awareness of a learned awareness of the world. So you cannot recognize anything you have not cognized. So we do not recognize the ET phenomena because we have no cognition of it. All we have are these little pieces and little things people dropped in books or little glimpses, but this whole other level is unrecognizable because we have not expanded collectively. Some of us have, like you, Marla, and Nadi too, to realize the next level. But if we could all recognize the next level, the world would change in a drastic, I think, peaceful way. But there's a lot of people standing in the way of that level of recognition. You know, a lot of corporate control, politics, religions, all those things holding on to the past because they're in a way afraid of the unknown. But I think let's go for the unknown because it's really exciting.
It is exciting.
Yes, aren't you excited by your work, Marla? Because you never know what's going to come out of your mouth, right?
Never. I have never been bored since I started on the spiritual path. Never. I'll never be bored. Right?
Right. No, I'm just thinking, I'm really glad some of Guru Jagat's people are tuning into you because you were so right in your assessment of her, of what I knew of her, that a lot of people were impressed with that. And if you would have met her, you would have loved her.
I'm sure of that.
She was so smart and so dynamic. You should hear some of our dialogues together, but our best times together were just private conversations, you know. Like she would say, I love what you're doing. I would say, I love what you're doing, you know. And then we both laugh and then we'd both cry, you know. It's like, you know, like that, you know. So anyway, it's nice to know she's still around somewhere. Right?
Living at many more different levels than we can know here. Many more.
But isn't
It
everyone?
looks like vertical levels. Vertical.
So not everybody goes to those. Like a lot of the people you read for are just kind of stagnant on one level, right? Or are they all on different levels?
Well, are we talking people who are alive or people on the other side?
People on the other side, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Sometime we're going to talk about this because I have a million things to say. But, and I've told you this before, actually, but it's worth repeating. People that I see on the other side, it's not that people can't go different places, but I'm gonna call it heaven, you know, our sort of version of the afterlife for most of us. Each person is so deeply cared for in exactly the way that they need to feel the ultimate safety, the ultimate caring, and creating an environment for the ultimate growth. So I'm not going to go into the story, but I'll just give you one example. So if an extreme, and I saw this in a reading, if an extreme introvert crosses over and doesn't, like animals, they cross over fully, like fully realized beings, but humans don't seem to do that in my 22 years of experience. So if an extreme introvert crosses over, her worst nightmare is to suddenly be greeted by everyone she ever knew and all of her family and all of her ancestors. So that in a reading that I saw did not happen. In fact, the opposite happened. She went to a place where there was no one, and that's where she felt most comfortable. Now, she did say that she knew she would be moving on to another place, and she didn't know where that was, and she didn't know when it would happen, but she knew that it would happen and that she would be ready when it happened.
Right. But what is the purpose of this life, physicality, this incarnation? And how is it different from those realms? I know.
Tell us the purpose of life, Marla.
Yeah, the biggest questions of life. That's all. I don't think it is different, really.
But why do
that
we
speaks-
incarnate? Why are we here?
That is, Nadia, you're so right.
No pressure, Marla.
And-
Tell us, Mahler, why we're here.
Well, I will say what comes to me when you ask that question is that we have no idea really how rich and multi-layered life is. So we have so many purposes. I mean, I think it seems, Alan, that your purpose is obvious to all of us, right? But there's so much.
I don't know.
more
I think there's a
going on.
lot maybe you don't even know about me, in not a bad or good way, but I think you're only seeing one little slice, and there
Right.
might be more to me and my purpose.
This is exactly what I'm saying. Exactly. I think that you have, even though your purpose looks obvious, I
Well-
think that there are so many purposes for you.
Right.
And I think that you are in super high connection. Like, this is what your energy profile or your spiritual profile looks to me. So here you are living, right? And then you have all these different levels. Yeah, actually, you know what? I see that you help people more than any of us will ever know. And then you have a couple levels down here. That's not bad. It's just they're earthly. Okay, but we get about here, and then all of a sudden you zoom up to way up there somewhere. So you're functioning at earth levels above, but then you're also functioning like, I'm talking about way up there, Alan.
Okay. I think
Like, it's just a zoom of energy and consciousness. And
when you say you know tell me what you're seeing here from your perspective of my purpose. When you say you know it's obvious what my purpose is, what is obvious? to
oh,
you?
well, I just meant as because I don't know you very well. So even though you're my new best friend, Ellen, I'm just kidding. You're stuck with me
No,
now.
don't be
but-
kidding. I enjoy.
But the little I know about you is that you're here to connect the different levels of consciousness. And you're doing that very important thing that I mentioned, which is asking questions. And you're drawing knowledge from all of us. I mean, if you can get us to share what we really know, whoever us is, and then
Yep.
disseminate that information, I mean, that's huge. So on the face of it, as if that's not enough, Alan, that's what I would say your purpose is, but it goes higher. But I didn't know it goes like way up there. Like, you are really connected up there. Do you think, Nadi? What do you think?
Well, I think
Yeah.
Nadi is too, of course. That's where we connect. Nadi's up there too.
Well, I do have that sense, Marla. It's interesting because I always see you, Alan, as, bopping around in this social butterfly, and yet there is such a clear, intuitive read when you connect with someone and you're like, oh, I'm going to connect you and promote you, and you're totally tapped in this way and, completely human, but I really feel that tap, which sounds like what you're describing, Marla, for sure.
Yeah.
And,
It's like
I
a
was
freeway
thinking-
tunnel that goes from like one place to a million miles up.
Right.
Thank you.
I was thinking about when we met, Alan. It's really fun, and it's unique to me. I don't know that I've met too many people who we were at a Memorial Day vegan barbecue in Sedona, and we started talking and started realizing that we knew some of the same people. But then he, I didn't really know what was happening, and he just leaned in and he said something like, let's find out and I don't remember the rest of it. And we just went in like third eye to third eye, and he was like, "Oh yeah, but you're good." It was, I don't even remember the whole thing, but I've never really, it's such a galactic greeting, third eye to third eye, and I haven't really met.
That's our galactic greeting, yes.
Yeah, and it was this absolute like connection on other levels. So I think about that often. It was such a
but then you had all this other stuff in common. The crop circles, definitely a passion for crop circles.
Yeah. And that was like once you have that, it's like, oh yeah, the rest is easy, but crop circles and ETs, and it's been wonderful, it's wonderful connection.
Oh, thank you, Marla. I think you need to meet more people like that, like this, because it's sort of like you're here, and then there's the world out there that you're sort of reading for, but you're not like communing and maybe friends with people like on your level that you can just talk to and be yourself. Maybe, I'm sure you have friends, but it's like there's a little bit of a separate world for you that I'm trying to pull you out of that and show you will have friends everywhere, Marla. There's people who want to be your friend as a friend, as an equal, as just who you are with all of it, not limiting your wisdom because you're thinking this person may not really get the bigger picture here. So I'm pulling you.
What? I was hungry for you. No, I was hungry for you all. I really was. And, I have like the dearest friends ever, but a lot of them are not spiritual.
Right. And you have to keep a part of yourself hidden and like an overcoat over this part. And it's like pretending to be almost other than the fullness, the fullness of you, of who you are, which is this great mind and psychic and intuitive and all of it. As a friend, as just not to like help you, but just to converse on the level that you live on. That's what I'm saying. You can live there all the time with me and Nadi and everyone else listening.
Thank you, Alan and Nadi. No, you have no idea how happy you make me.
Yeah.
None. Well, you do, because you just said all those things.
No, but I think I'm
so grateful for you.
Yeah. Thank you. But I'm just saying, don't be afraid to show people who you are and not thinking you have to give them readings all the time, but just like yourself with all of that wisdom and intelligence and stories and everything that you are, to being available in that, in the kind of everyday mundane exchange. It's all there, but I think you hold it back because this person's not going to get her, and they might not, but there are people that will and really appreciate you even more in your immediate circle for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I'm just going to confirm to you, yes, I was always either teaching or giving readings. Right. So I was a part.
Yes.
And then because most of my friends were not spiritual, so I hear this from other people too, that they feel they can't truly show themselves. So see, you're helping me show myself, and then together we're helping others to feel safer and more open.
And it's like, this is the new paradigm. So when Nadi said, what do I see coming? I'm seeing all of us sharing at the level where we can just be ourselves on all those levels, where we're not dumbing ourselves down for the 3D world because we think people won't understand us. We're creating a new culture. This is what, Nadi and I and everyone in Sedona are doing, right? Sedona, they live that way. Like,
Yeah, I got to get back.
Well, you have a good group there, though, in Portland.
I have a really good group. It's just city energies are very different than the rocks, so got to make my way back. And I have to make my way on for the rest of the day too, but it is such a pleasure to be here with you both.
Okay, maybe
pleasure.
Maybe you could meet us in Sedona, Marla.
Anytime. Okay, listen, I have a request.
Yes.
The
Nadi.
answer to Nadi's question, your answer,
Yeah.
I really would love if you would do a clip of your answer and
This is
send
what
it
we
to
did
me.
here, what we just did here.
Yeah, but your answer, when she
My
asked you
an-
the question, what you really thought was going on, and then you
Oh.
gave this beautiful answer. And
What-
I would love a clip of that and to share it.
Oh, okay. I forgot what I said, but I'll look at it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think I just love to share it.
Oh, okay. I'll find it. I'll download this and find it. Thank you, Nadia. I know you have to go. We're going to do our event, right?
Yeah, you haven't gotten, get back to me on a date. What is your channel friend's name?
Hope.
Julie?
Hope.
Hope.
Maybe
Yeah.
Marla could come on that call too and see what she gets.
Absolutely. The more to the party of our future cataclysmic event, you bet.
Okay, great. Okay,
Be
Yeah.
Marla,
happy to.
thanks again. You're actually a very nice person, Marla. No, I think you know that, but I think because of this separateness, it's like you can only live it in that level of relationship as opposed to like a more integrated level of beingness, you know?
Yes,
Yeah. So
you
it's
are 100% right, Ellen.
yeah.
See,
So
I needed you and we need each other, don't we?
Yeah.
We need each other to support. And there's so many people who feel like I do.
right.
So many people.
But
So,
this is the new culture that's being formed, the new
Mhm.
evolution of connection, I guess. That
mhm.
yeah.
And you give us a safe place to do it too.
Well, thank you, but it's all of us, it's all of us. Did you read my book? I wonder, did you get a chance?
When I was moving, I've lost it, but
Oh,
only temporarily, Ellen. Only
okay.
temporarily.
Are you in a new place now?
Almost. I'm kind of in between.
Where you don't have to tell me exactly. You're in Southern California though, right?
Mhm.
All right. We're gonna go visit. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. We'll see you next week. And Elizabeth, I'm glad she's a known being. I mean, she's a remarkable being. She really is.
She is filled with light and love and purpose. But I am going to look her up too, because I know that she's been important and she's terrifically important and becoming more important to us by the minute. That's my psychic take on that. But I'm going to look up her history as well.
Yeah, look her up. She's really known. She worked with Buckminster Fuller and lots of amazing people. So, okay. Same time next week, okay?
Same time next week.
Okay. I thought Michael was going to be on, but I guess
I was texting with Michael. He is traveling this week, so I'm sure he'll be on next week.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.